The death of Saul and his sons, chapter 10. This is also told in 1 Samuel 31 1 to 13. The Philistines fought against Israel in a battle at Mount Gilboa. Israel's soldiers ran from the Philistines, and many of them were killed. The Philistines closed in on Saul and his sons and killed three of them, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. The fighting was fierce around Saul, and he was badly wounded by enemy arrows. Saul told the soldier who carried his weapons, "Kill me with your sword. I don't want those godless Philistines to torture and make fun of me." But the soldier was afraid to kill him. Then Saul struck himself in the stomach with his own sword and fell on the blade. When the soldier realized that Saul was dead, he killed himself in the same way. Saul, three of his sons, and all his male relatives were dead. The Israelites who lived in Jezreel Valley learned that their army had run away and that Saul and his sons were dead. They ran away too, and the Philistines moved into the towns the Israelites left behind. The next day, the Philistines came back to the battlefield to carry away the weapons of the dead Israelite soldiers. When they found the bodies of Saul and his sons on Mount Gilboa, they took Saul's weapons, pulled off his armor, and cut off his head. Then they sent messengers everywhere in Philistia to spread the news among their people and to thank the idols of their gods. They put Saul's armor in the temple of their gods and hung his head in the temple of their god Dagon. When the people who lived in Jabesh in Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, some brave men went to get his body and the bodies of his three sons. The men brought the bodies back to the Jabesh, where they buried them under an oak tree. Then for 7 days they went without eating to show their sorrow. Saul died because he was unfaithful and disobeyed the Lord. He even asked advice from a woman who talked to spirits of the dead instead of asking the Lord. So the Lord had Saul killed and gave his kingdom to David, the son of Jesse. David becomes king of Israel and captures Jerusalem. Chapter 11. David becomes king of Israel. This is also told in 2 Samuel 5 1 to 3. Israel's leaders met with David at Hebron and said, "We are your relatives, and we know that you have led our army into battle. Even when Saul was still our king, the Lord God has promised that you would rule our country and take care of us like a shepherd. So we have come to crown you king of Israel." David made an agreement with the leaders and asked the Lord to be their witness. Then the leaders poured olive oil on David's head to show that he was now king of Israel. This happened just as the Lord's prophet Samuel had said. David captures Jerusalem. This is also told in 2 Samuel 5 6 to 10. Jerusalem was called Jebush at the time, and David led Israel's army to attack the town. The Jebusites said, "You won't be able to get in here," but David captured the fortress of Mount Zion, which is now called the City of David. David had told his troops, "The first soldier to kill a Jebusite will become my army commander." And since Joab, son of Zeruiah, attacked first, he became commander. Later, David moved to the fortress. That's why it's called the City of David. He had the city rebuilt starting at the landfill on the east side. Meanwhile, Joab supervised the repairs to the rest of the city. David became a great and strong ruler because the Lord all-powerful was on his side. David's warriors, the three warriors. This is also told in 2 Samuel 23 8 to 17. The Lord had promised that David would become king, and so everyone in Israel gave David their support. Certain warriors also helped to keep his kingdom strong. The first of these warriors was Jashobeam, the son of Hakimoni, the leader of the three warriors. In one battle, he killed 300 men with his spear. Another one of the three warriors was Eleazar, son of Dodo, the Ahohite. During a battle against the Philistines at Pasdammim, all the Israelite soldiers ran away except Eleazar, who stayed with David. They took their positions in a nearby barley field and defeated the Philistines. The Lord gave Israel a great victory that day. One time the three warriors went to meet David among the rocks at Adullam cave. The Philistine army had set up camp in Rephaim Valley and had taken over Bethlehem. David was in a fortress and he said, I am very thirsty. I wish I had a drink of water from the well by the gate to Bethlehem. The three warriors sneaked through the Philistine camp and got some water from the well near Bethlehem's gate. They took it back to David, but he refused to drink it. Instead, he poured out the water as a sacrifice to the Lord and said, Drinking this water would be like drinking the blood of these men who risked their lives to get it for me. The three warriors did these brave deeds. The 30 warriors. This is also told in 2 Samuel 23:18-39. Joab's brother Abishai was the leader of the 30 warriors, and in one battle he killed 300 men with his spear. He was just as famous as the three warriors and was more famous than the rest of the 30 warriors. He was their commander, but he never became one of the three warriors. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was a brave man from Kabzeel who did some amazing things. One time he killed two of Moab's best fighters, and one snowy day he went into a pit and killed a lion. Another time he killed an Egyptian who was over 2 meters tall and was armed with a spear. Benaiah only had a club, so he grabbed the spear from the Egyptian and killed him with it. Benaiah did things like that. He was just as brave as the three warriors, even though he never became one of them, and he was certainly as famous as the rest of the 30 warriors. So David made him the leader of his own bodyguard. Here is a list of the other famous warriors. Asahel, the brother of Joab, Elhanan, the son of Dodo from Bethlehem, Shamoth from Haror, Helez from Pelon, Ira, the son of Ikesh from Tekoa, Abiezer from Anathoth, Sibekai the Hushathite, Eli the Ahohite, Maharai from Netophah, Heled the son of Bana from Netophah, Ittai the son of Ripai from Geba in Benjamin, Benaiah from Pirathon, Furay from near the streams on Mount Gash, Abiel from Arba, Asmaveth from Baharum, Eliahaba from Shabon, Hashem the Gizonite, Jonathan the son of Shagi from Hara, I am the son of Sakar the Hararite, Eliphar the son of Ur, Hefer from Mekera, Ahijah from Pelon, Hezro from Carmel, Narai the son of Ezbai, Joel the brother of Nathan, Miphar the son of Hagri, Zelek from Ammon, Nahariah from Beeroth, who carried Joab's weapons, Era the Ithrite, Gareb the Ithrite, Uriah the Hittite, Zabad the son of Ahrai, Adina the son of Shiza, a leader in the Reuben tribe, and 30 of his soldiers, Hanan the son of Makkah, Joshaphat from Mithan, Uzziah from Ashterah, Sharma, and Jair, the sons of Hotam from Aroer, Jediah and Joha, the sons of Shimri from Tiz, Eliel from Mahava, Jeribai and Joshavia, the sons of Elnam, Ithma from Moab, Eliel, Obed, and Jaasiel from Mezobah. Chapter 12. David's men at Ziklag. Sometime earlier, David had gone to live in the town of Ziklag to escape from King Saul. While David was there, several brave warriors joined him to help fight his battles. Warriors from the Benjamin tribe. Several of these warriors were from King Saul's own tribe of Benjamin. They were experts at using a bow and arrows, and they could shoot an arrow or sling a stone with either hand. Their leaders were Ahiezer and Joash, the sons of Shemaiah from Gibeah. Here is a list of those men from Benjamin: Jeziel and Pelet, the sons of Asmarveth, Berakah and Jehu from Anathoth, Ishmaiah from Gibeon, who was the leader of the 30 warriors, Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan, and Josabad from Gedera, Eluzai, Zeremoth, Bealiah, Shemariah, and Shephatiah from Haruf, Elkanah, Ishai, Azarel, Joezer, and Jashobeam from the Korah clan, Joelah and Zebadiah, the sons of Jeroham from Gedor, warriors from the Gad tribe. Men from the tribe of Gad also joined David at his fortress in the desert and served as his warriors. They were also brave soldiers, fierce as lions and quick as gazelles. They were always prepared to fight with shields and spears. There were 11 of them, ranked in the following order: Ezer the leader, then Obadiah, Eliab, Mishmah, Jeremiah, Attai, Eliel, Johanan, Elzabad, Jeremiah, and Mechbanai. All these men were army officers. Some were high-ranking officers over 1,000 troops, and others were officers over 100 troops. Earlier, they had crossed the river Jordan. When it flooded, they chased out the people who lived in the valleys on each side of the river. Warriors from the Benjamin and Judah tribes. One time, a group of men from the tribes of Benjamin and Judah went to the fortress where David was staying. David met them outside and said, "If you are coming as friends to fight on my side, then stay and join us. But if you try to turn me over to my enemies, the God our ancestors worshipped will punish you, because I have done nothing wrong." Amasai, who later became the leader of the 30 warriors, was one of these men who went to David. God's spirit took control of him, and he said, "We will join you, David, son of Jesse. You and your followers will always be successful because God fights on your side." So David agreed to let them stay, and he even put them in charge of his soldiers who raided enemy villages. Warriors from the Manasseh tribe. Some of the warriors who joined David were from the tribe of Manasseh. They had earlier gone with David when he agreed to fight on the side of the Philistines against King Saul. But as soon as the Philistine rulers realized that David might turn against them and rejoin Saul, they sent David away to the town of Ziklag. That's when the following men from Manasseh joined him: Adnah, Jozabad, Zediah, Michael, Jozabad, Elihu, and Zilethai. They had all been commanders in Saul's army and brave soldiers, and so David made them officers in his army. They fought on his side when enemy troops attacked. Day after day, new men came to join David, and soon he had a large, powerful army. David's men at Hebron. The kingdom of Israel had been taken away from Saul, and it now belonged to David. He was ruling from Hebron, and thousands of well-trained soldiers from each tribe went there to crown David king of all Israel, just as the Lord had promised. These soldiers, who were always prepared for battle, included 6,800 from Judah, who were armed with shields and spears, 7,100 from Simeon, 4,600 from Levi, including Jehoiada, who was a leader from Aaron's descendants, and his 3,700 men, as well as Zadok, who was a brave soldier, and 22 of his relatives who were also officers. 3,000 from Benjamin, because this was Saul's own tribe, and most of the men had remained loyal to him. 20,800 from Ephraim, who were not only brave but also famous in their clans. 18,000 from West Manasseh, who had been chosen to help make David king 200 leaders from Issachar along with troops under their command. These leaders knew the right time to do what needed to be done. 50,000 from Zebulun, who were not only loyal but also trained to use any weapon. 1,000 officers from Naphtali and 37,000 soldiers armed with shields and spears. 28,600 from Dan, 40,000 from Asher, and 120,000 from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and East Manasseh, who were armed with all kinds of weapons. All these soldiers voluntarily came to Hebron because they wanted David to become king of Israel. In fact, everyone in Israel wanted the same thing. The soldiers stayed in Hebron 3 days, eating and drinking what their relatives had prepared for them. Other Israelites from as far away as the territories of Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali brought cattle and sheep to slaughter for food. They also brought donkeys, camels, mules, and oxen that were loaded down with flour, dried figs, wine, and olive oil. Everyone in Israel was very happy.